Stop wasting hours trapped behind the keyboard when you could be spending time building relationships, attracting new leads, and nurturing your clients. My content marketing agency, Cadet Media Boutique, specializes in VIP custom video editing and graphic design for coaches, consultants, and service providers just like you who want to show up and stand out online. Visit my website, martinecadet.com/podcast so you can get started today with your online presence. I look forward to supporting you. If you're at a space right now where you're wondering what's next, here's the thing. You know so much. You have enough to be able to make a change. I'm so excited that you're tuning in into this episode. Let's get started. You are listening on your favorite podcast provider, or perhaps watching this show on your big TV screen. Regardless, I'm excited to have you. My name is Martine Cadet, and I am the host of the Visualize and Create show. You will be able to meet amazing individuals that are going to inspire you, motivate you, and give you the tools for you to visualize and create whatever it is that you want. Make sure you check out the show notes and share this with a friend. Welcome to another episode of the Visualize and Create video podcast. You are either listening to me on your favorite podcast provider or watching me sitting on your couch, right, on your big screen TV, or perhaps you downloaded the app and you're watching me as well. And so regardless how you tune in, we're excited to have you. I say we because today my guest, Jenny, is going to inspire you, let me tell you. And as I shared at the top of this episode, if you are at a place right now where you're wondering, what is next? How do I figure out what I can do with my life? Listen up, stay tuned, listen till the end, watch till the end, because Jenny's here to help you. And so Jenny, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Martine. I'm so excited too. It's awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so before we go into the tips and tricks and action steps that one can take to either get started or perhaps scale or do that next level of themselves, we want to hear your story. We want to hear how you've been able to build your journey of starting to visualize, right, what Jenny could be and ended up creating. And so take us through your journey really quickly so we get to know you a little bit.
Absolutely. So this is kind of this coming back to childhood for me. So I've come full circle, and it's pretty wild actually. So I what I do now is I help visionaries amplify their voices by sharing their stories so that they can grow their business and impact the world. And so I didn't start out doing that, but it was actually something that I dreamed of as a child. So I came into the entrepreneurial space really in 2018. And in 2018, I just saw a webinar, and I just had a run-in with my boss at the time where I was like, this is it. I can't be talked down to anymore, like screaming and yelling at me over the phone when I wasn't even working the day after Christmas. And so, yeah, it was really bad. So this webinar came into my life like just at the right time. And I jumped on top of it, and it was how to start a digital marketing company. And so I said, wow, well, that's what I do in my day job. And so I went through it and I did it. Well, doing it, I was really successful right off the bat because I had connections in the space that I was working in. And then I thought, this just isn't filling my heart. And I want to do what I feel called to do, which is to help women. And I want to help women actually just do what I just did, leave their job, build a successful business. And so I moved into that space. Now, the background story on this, Martine, is that I've been an introvert my entire life. Okay. From kindergarten through elementary, through high school, through my career, I always faced adversity with this. And in kindergarten, my teacher at the time wanted to hold me back because she thought I couldn't read because I wasn't talkative. And she said, the quiet ones are always the ones they're behind. They don't know what's going on because that's why they're quiet. Well, she ended up figuring out that I read at a third grade level. And my mom she's like, no, you have to listen to her, like one on one, have her read to you. I was reading at a third grade level. She didn't think I could read because I wasn't talkative in class. Well, this theme carried on throughout my entire life. I wasn't the most gregarious. I wasn't the one that was, comfortable in the spotlight in meetings and things like that. So when I came to this online space, when I was working in digital marketing, I was comfortable because I was working my connections that I already had. But when I wanted to go after helping women, this was a whole new space. This is a whole new world. And I had to make new connections and be that, as they said, I had to be that kind of aggressive, gregarious, larger than life personality online to be able to attract clients. Well, I went through programs after programs and coaches after coaches, masterminds, spent nearly $50,000 when everything was said and done to find out that I'm still an introvert and I need to go about my own way to make these connections. So the systems and the tactics and the things like that, they would work for a short amount of time until my energy was completely drained and then I would lose all motivation. Well, one of the turning points in this journey is that my mastermind coach, early 2021, he said to me, "Well, maybe you should rethink being a coach." Because I would not cold DM 100 people every day and pitch my services. And I told him I can't do it. And when he said that to me, I was at a crossroads because it was devastating. From 2018, now we're in 2021, and now they're telling me, maybe you shouldn't do this. I remember closing my laptop because we were on a Zoom call at the time. I remember closing my laptop at the kitchen counter, just laying my head on top of it and just sobbing because, all of the time, all the effort, now all of the money. And they're saying, you don't have what it takes. So at this point, I cried for a little bit and I laid there and then something just came through me where it was, no, stand up, not only for yourself, but think of all of the introverted female entrepreneurs out there that are being told this exact thing and are not standing up right now, that they are crying and shutting it down in this moment. And so at that moment in time, that was it. It was a turning point for my focus of my business. It was a turning point for my mindset. And so that conversation, although unfortunate that there's coaches out there that are saying that, it really empowered me to figure out how to do this in my own way and to help people. So that leading up to June of 2021, so that was in January, June of last year, I joined a multi-author book project. And that book was called Aligned Leaders, and it ended up being a #1 international bestseller. And what happened is I was able to use my strengths and my traits of being an introvert, communicating and writing, and I was able to grow my network. I was able to have people reaching out to me and saying, "Oh my gosh, your story is so inspiring." And so that power of story really came through for me. And I said, this is it. This is how I can revolutionize marketing and visibility really for these introverts. Let's get them writing. Let's get them sharing their stories and being able to network and collaborate and just do it in this really good feel good space. And then, hey, you get to be an international best-selling author in the process, right? So that's where we are right now, Martine. I have a publishing company now called Introvert She Wrote Publishing, which I started this year. And we are launching our first multi-author book this fall.
Unbelievable. Listen, you have no idea why I'm so excited for you listening and watching. You're like, why is Martine smiling so much? I'm going to tell you, I met Jenny in her early stages, right?
Yes.
When you're walking through, I have goosebumps when you're walking through that story. I'm just beyond proud of you. And what I'm hearing here, and for you watching and listening, this is what I'm taking from this. You don't have to focus on how it's going to happen, right? It's truly about why. Because I once you dissect, why am I doing this? Why do I not want to go back to this job that was not great for me? Why and why and why? And you build that confidence. How to create it will come. It's just so weird, isn't it? And so I love that you're taking your own experience, Jenny, and you had this light bulb moment. And thank you for that coach who told you that, because there's not a lot of people that are going to be transparent and tell you, right? And this coach is really doing the right work by being honest and just really to challenge you, and look where you are today. And so I love that. And so let's go back to that moment when, and thank you for sharing that story, when you were in your kitchen and you mentioned you closed that laptop and you were sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. Yeah. A lot of us that have dreams that want to create, and we feel, and some people are not in the online space, right? They're not on social like you and I are. And they probably heard you say the word webinar, and they may not even know what that is, right? But they do have that passion inside of them. What would you say to someone that feels like they are limited for whatever reason, that they don't have the resources? They think they're introverts. They're not people that want to go out there. They probably feel like, it's just too late in their lives, perhaps. If you were to talk to someone that you've identified has the skills, has the potential, but yet feels all those blocks, what would you say to this person today, listening and watching?
Well, I think it goes back to what you said at the top of the show, and you have it inside of you, right? It's there. But we need to embrace it. And we need to embrace everything, authentically who we are, embrace our weaknesses, embrace our strengths, embrace our absolute uniqueness, because there's nobody else on the planet like us. And when you're able to just be okay, you're going to be able to see that these strengths are going to come through, and you're going to be able to make exactly what you should make from that. So being an introvert, I'm as introverted as they come. Okay. I am like 96% on the Myers-Briggs personality test of an introvert. So if I can figure out how to build, I've built now 3 different companies and build this publishing company that when I was a child, I used to write books and put my name as the publisher on it. So I always had it inside of me through all stages of my life. But when I was able to just really embrace, when he said, maybe you don't have what it takes, he didn't say it in those words, but when he said, maybe you should rethink being a coach, and I interpreted it as I don't have what it takes, I had to really just come to center and think of who I was. I was a fighter. I'm constantly fighting adversity. I did my whole life, and I just saw, okay, well, this is another thing. This is just another thing. How am I going to get over this? So I embraced everything that I was, all these experiences, and it was there. It was inside of me, and it's inside of you too.
Interrupting this episode really quickly with a very important message for you from one of our guests.
Hi, my name is Su-Chen Lo, and I'm a creative power business alchemist. What that means is that I help passionate and creative female coaches and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses to consistent 10K months without struggle, people pleasing, or having to prove yourself over and over again. By harnessing your creativity to build business structures that are customized to your genius so that you can finally own your unique creative power and be in control of your income, life, and destiny. My chapter in this inspired living book is titled From Servant Girl to Sovereign Queen. And it's a heart-to-heart conversation that I had with my client Marie, where we explore the idea that you have the right to be uniquely you, shadow side and everything, plus your brilliant side, without needing to earn or prove your worth, your lovability, or your place as a woman and as a leader in your business. This is really the cornerstone of how you move away from being the servant girl in your life to living an inspired life as a business owner, as a woman, as a leader, as sovereign queen.
All the information is included in the show notes of this episode, and you can always visit my website, martinecadet.com. Now let's get back to the episode. And thank you for sharing the word experiences, Jenny, because, let's go back. You mentioned you spent a lot of energy, you spent a lot of money investing in you, right? Only to find out that light bulb moment. But for the one that's listening right now, and they're probably there, they're probably at that moment where you were, Jenny, where they were like, I don't get it. I've invested so much. I feel like it's a complete waste. I feel like, I can't do this, whatever it is that they want to do. Can you dive in a little bit more on how your mindset shift happened when you looked back and said, oh my God, I spent $50,000 in myself? In the back of your heart, you're like, okay, to walk us through how you felt and how you looked at it. You switched the way you looked at that time that you spent.
Yeah. So it's funny that you asked this, because my answer is going to be that I connected the dots of these experiences. And that actually was the title of the chapter that I wrote in the first multi-author book that I contributed to, was Connecting the Dots. And that's what I had to do. It was not failure. I did not fail. Every one of those experiences, all of those programs and all of those attempts, and all the pivots that I made, none of them were failure. None of it. And none of my money went to waste. None of it did. I would not be here where I am right now had I not done that. And so I had to connect each dot. I had to say, I would not be here, and I went backwards. If this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have been able to go forward. And I just kept going back and connecting each dot all the way back to childhood, And so I had to take a big, evaluation of my life and those experiences. And when I was able to say, as simple as, hey, if that coach didn't say that to me, like, I was really mad in the moment. I was mad and I was hurt. And how dare he? I've given him so much money. Shouldn't he be uplifting? And yeah, Jenny, you could do it and be my cheerleader, right? But instead of that, he said, maybe you should rethink this. But like you said, Martine, that was the best thing he could have done for me. And so I had two ways to look at that. And originally, when I was laying there on top of my laptop, I was thinking of it in the negative way. Like, how dare he? And okay, what a waste. What a waste of the last, 3 years and all my money. But that mindset shift happened when I allowed myself to just process and connect each one of those experiences, each one of those dots.
I love that. I love that because, this show is called Visualize and Create. And so what you have highlighted for us here is that creation process. You have to continue to create. And I love, and we're going to bring this home again for you listening and watching, right? These are experiences wherever you are right now in your journey. whether you're sobbing or you were sobbing this morning and you're like, okay, let me tune into the show to give myself a little bit more, empowerment to know that I'm not the only one, which, by the way, kudos to you. I'm so glad that you're still watching and listening. Jenny and I are super proud of you that you're still here all the way to this point and you did not click out. That means that you are truly invested into this conversation. And that also means that you must hear how you're going to connect with Jenny and be able to continue the conversation with her, because she was able to do it. And look at her today. I'm so proud. With the companies that she's built and the publishing company, I mean, beyond excited for you. And so it's important to continue to create. It's important to continue to visualize, but you can't do it alone. Hence why I want Jenny to spend a little bit of time to share with you, for you listening and watching, what's included in the show notes. How can we get in touch with you? I know at the top of the conversation, you shared a little bit about what you do. Do reiterate that again so that we can clearly understand how to connect with you so you can help us out.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. So we can connect on Facebook. First of all, if you can find me on Facebook. But I do also have a website. So it's www.goslaytheday.com. And both my one-on-one coaching and my publishing is on that website. But yeah, essentially, Martine, I help female visionaries by one-on-one coaching. I am a content marketing creator and coach now, because of that power of story, right? So I help with the one-on-one aspect, and also with publishing. So multi-author books right now. You could find that information on my website as well.
Excellent. And all of this is in the show notes. And if this is your first time tuning in, this is going to be your first time hearing this, but if you are a subscriber of the show, I always tell you this in every single episode, because I'm a professor and so I have homework for you. What's the homework? Make sure you check the show notes. And when you visit the website, Jenny's website that is, and you connect with her, let her know that you saw her on the show and you listened to that podcast too, right? Because I know some of you watching or listening are probably not on social. And I'm so glad that you shared your website address, Jenny, to get in touch with you. And listen, this is your first episode, but not the last, okay? We need to bring you back. I'm inviting you back. I'm forcing you to come back. I'm just kidding. You're coming back because we need to talk about that story part, right? It's imperative. You have to come back and talk about how to really hone in and embrace your story. And because it's one of those things, I'll tell you, for me personally, I had to invest time and energy to do it myself for my own business and my own self-development. And so you're coming back, just letting you know. And okay. So Jenny, thank you so much for coming on the show. I look forward to reading your books and following your journey. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you and the community that you are building. And I want you to continue to create. You're amazing. Thank you for coming on the show.
It was an honor, Martine. Thank you.
I will see you in the next episode. I'll be in your earbuds. Make sure you share, make sure you comment, make sure you rate this podcast. Come on now. We need more people to tune in. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. You have just listened or watched the Visualize and Create show. Don't forget to download our app and make sure to leave us a review. And before I go, I do want you to visit my website, martinecadet.com. Browse around. There's a lot of stuff in there. I have a store. I also have great services available for you so that you can visualize and create anything that you want. I will see you in the next episode.